Welcome back to this video series on Block 3, Chapter 11 to 15 in the book Outsmarting Reality by Neuro-Knowledge. So, in Block 3, we'll cover the following 5 chapters. Chapter 11, How to Know Exactly What Action to Take. Chapter 12, The Perception Projection Loop. Chapter 13, You Don't Have Beliefs, They Have You. Chapter 14, There's No Creation Without Conviction. And Chapter 15, The Law of Emotion. Some of these are more practical takeaways, like how to know when to exactly take action. This is more on following your intuition. And others, like the law of emotion, is more of a principle to have in mind. So some of these are more practical and others are more theoretical. Let's start with the big one, Chapter 11, How to Know Exactly What Action to Take. So here are some quotes from the book. In a battle between actions and frequency, frequency always wins. And this is the concept of understanding the multi-dimensional sequence that you go from attention to frequency to your desired reality, and understanding the order of how things work, and that frequency comes for physical action. The second part here is the mental nudges. So the mental nudges that we experience are a direct result of our intuition. And intuition is an amalgamation of two words, inner and tuition. So it's a way of saying that the mental nudges that we experience in life are nothing else but the intuition that is guided from our frequency. And the third quote is, you can be in the right frequency that which reflect your desired reality, but without self-trust, you won't be able to materialize it. So that means that you can be in the right frequency, but since you're not acting on the mental nudges, you are still stuck. And we'll get back to what that feeling of being stuck actually is, because it's an interesting take. So, what do you do when your frequency is aligned? So from the multi-dimensional sequence, we know that vibration leads to frequency, frequency leads to intuition, intuition leads to mental nudges, and mental nudges leads to action. Now, the first thing here is mental alignment precedes how to and physical action. We've touched upon this in the previous videos, but it's nice to kind of reiterate on that. The whole point here is that you need to understand the order of things. There's no need to do a lot of physical action when you still haven't aligned your frequency. So the how to is not as important as mentally aligning your frequency. And the second part here is remain calm, intuitive next steps surface when the noise drops. So what is the noise? The noise is stress, anxiety, and feeling in survival. What you're doing here is tapping into your innate ability to actually listen to your intuition. It is very hard to be creative unless you can remain at peace and inner calm and stillness. So the clue here is to remain calm, because that's when your intuition can step in, because you're not in fight or flight, you're not in survival anymore, you're in self-actualization mode. And to get the full bandwidth of your powers, you use your frequency to guide your actions. And this is a concept very similar to the book Atomic Habits, where you align with the identity of the thing you want. So let's say you want to be an athlete. Well, an athlete would do certain things like be on a diet or take care of their diet. They would prioritize working out, and they would also prioritize restitution. They would do anything that would give them short-term and long-term gains, etc., etc. Or if you want to be a great programmer, you need to program on a daily, you need to understand systems, patterns, you need to talk with other great programmers, etc., etc. So you align with the frequency, or you align with the identity of the thing that you already have as an athlete, as a programmer, as a professional, and from that point of view, you take the actions you would, instead of looking from the outside perspective, thinking, oh my god, I'm such a novice, I'm such an amateur, what do I do? You think, okay, if I were a professional, what would I do? And these are very powerful journal prompts as well. So that's a good way to reflect. Relaxation and stillness allows inspired action to emerge. We covered that in Remain Calm and let the intuition flow to you rather than you chasing it. And action is received, not forced. So this is one of my main critiques against to-do lists, because they're very action-oriented. We should also have to-be lists, which gives us higher guidance on what we actually need to be aligned on, which are the higher things that trickle down to the lower things. Same thing is also an example is in business. In business, you don't necessarily let the operations decide what the overarching business strategy is. You let the CEO and the chief executives align on a strategy, and then you have the more operational parts of an organization figuring out how to do it. And it's the exact same thing here. You need to figure out what your vision is before you actually take action on it. You can't just take action towards something and think that that will create some magic vision. And to the point earlier about what actually causes stagnation, procrastination is simply the stagnation of energy caused by trying to take action contradictory to your frequency. So if you constantly feel lazy, it means that your frequency is actually aligned, but you are being held back by yourself or not taking action. And that stagnation of energy is causing procrastination. And over to something else. Here are some signs that you have received some infinite guidance, or your intuition is talking to you from your frequency. If we start on the left side, the feelings can be, it all feels natural, it all feels all right, it suddenly shows up, you're suddenly seeing opportunities. That means you're calm and you're in a state of relaxation. And then you have more concrete examples of what that might look like. Maybe you're applying for a specific job because it popped up on your LinkedIn. Maybe you're applying for a job even if you feel unqualified. Feel as in you actually feel qualified, but on paper you're unqualified. Maybe you're changing your website or social media profile. Maybe you're changing your profile picture because you feel like you need this new change. Maybe you're reaching out to someone you've been meaning to contact for a while. Maybe you're starting a diet or buying a specific book. Maybe you go to the bookshop and this one book kind of speaks to you, it kind of shines, and you don't know why, so you pick it up. That's your intuition guiding you. Maybe you're going a different route home than you usually do. Maybe you see someone on the way, or a sign, a car. Maybe you see, I don't know, flowers, whatever. You see something special on the way. Telling someone how you truly feel. Maybe for a while you've been holding in something, and then something in your intuition tells you that you need to let this go, and you truly tell someone how you feel about something. Working on something you've been meaning to do. Maybe you've had something on your list for a while, or maybe you've put off this thing of fixing something in your house or creating some kind of order. Pivoting your strategy. Maybe you are in a situation where you felt stagnation and then suddenly an idea pops to you and you are rearranging your strategy to something that aligns more with you. Quitting your job or business. This is huge. Maybe your intuition is telling you that this is not it and you're meant for more, and this is a very big one. Breaking up with someone. Maybe you feel like the energy and frequency is off in a relationship and that it doesn't serve you anymore. Sorting out your email inbox. This one is actually kind of counterintuitive, because you would think this is just something you do, but it actually has a significant impact on you. Ordering and keeping order in your life is a very, very powerful way of being able to manifest, because it builds self-trust. And approaching someone while trying something on or something can also be a big one here. So another question that might arise is, how many desired realities should you have? And the answer is, you should focus on one thing at a time, because it's much easier for you to maintain attention on one thing than it is for you to maintain your focus on multiple things. And Nero suggests, not necessarily in the book but in other videos, that focusing on creating wealth is the best way. And Naval Ravikant, who's a big investor, also kind of preaches this way of living life, building wealth, and then from that perspective building the other blocks in your life. But that also comes with you have to prioritize whatever you have to in that case. So how many desired realities should you have? Well, you should have one that kind of knocks all the other dominoes out. Chapter 12: Perception Projection Loop. You create your reality through your personality. That is from Joe Dispenza, but it's kind of a line for this chapter. So here are some quotes from the book. There are no truths in reality other than what your subconscious mind accepts as true. And changing reality is simply a matter of changing how the world sees you. Now, what does that mean? It means projection equals perception. Your personality is your personal reality. And what that means is, in a very direct way, you perceive what you project and you project what you perceive. That means that what you see through your eyes and through your mind is what is true. And then that is what the world presents back to you. And then things go in a loop. And reality is nothing more than what you perceive. So if you shift the inner narrative to break the loop, you are actually changing reality, which is a bit tricky, and it might take some time to understand this. But yeah, another way of saying it is you project meaning and then perceive it as fact. So if you see a red car, you keep seeing a red car, or if you see a yellow car, you keep seeing a yellow car. If you think the world is horrible, it goes back and reality shows you how horrible reality is. And the metaphysical point about this chapter is we don't really see reality as it is. We see reality as we are. So if we see reality as we are, how do we change that loop? And we change that loop by changing our lens, our perspective, our glasses, if you may, to change the loop. And focused evidence collection rewires bias as well. So what we need to do is to get much better at perceiving reality as something positive instead of something negative. And this is much easier said than done, because in our biology, through science, we know that we are much more inclined to have a negative or feel deeply about negative things than positive things. So that is why you have to be very careful about who you let into your life, how you design your life, and how you are perceiving things such as news, information, music, etc. Because these are subliminal and very direct ways of influencing your mind. So you have to protect your mind and your emotions and your attention. That is kind of the art of offense and defense here. You have to protect your emotion and you have to protect your attention, because these are the two things that shape your personal reality, which again will create your desired reality or your unwanted reality. It all depends on what you want to do with your life. So here's a practical example of that. Let's say you want to get better grades, and let's say you're a D student at the bottom here, and the questions you would ask yourself if you identify with being a D student is, oh, I'm dumb, why can't I get the same grade as someone who got an A? Maybe he cheated, maybe he's just smart and I'm just dumb. Maybe he got some information from someone else. Oh my god, everything comes so easily to him. Why am I horrible and why am I bad? That is kind of the gist of what a D and lower level student would kind of feel. And then an A student would rather ask questions like, how does this person study? I wonder what he did to get an A+. Maybe I should ask him if he can give me feedback. Maybe I should ask my teacher how to get better grades. Maybe I should look at the feedback I got from the exam to see what I can improve, because teachers spend a lot of time actually figuring out what can you do to do things better, right? And even just asking the teacher the question shows curiosity. It shows that you want to improve. But instead of being stuck in this egocentric mindset, you have to switch it and turn it into curiosity and self-actualization, and turning it into something that you want. And this is actually a powerful thing here, because from the book Growth Mindset, Grit, Atomic Habits, and many other books in self-help development, you kind of get this, right? What would an A student do rather than a D student? And you can frame it as growth mindset, and you can frame it as fixed mindset. But you can also frame this as having a higher frequency versus lower frequency, right? So this is a very powerful example here on getting better grades, and you can translate that to whatever case you have in your life. Chapter 13. You don't have beliefs, they have you. So here are some quotes from the book. All beliefs are living entities. As living entities, all beliefs want energy. So, what does this mean? Well, it means that the beliefs that we have in our life are living entities in the spiritual world, if we remember the 3 planes of existence: mental, spiritual, and physical. And beliefs are living entities in this world, and all they want is energy. Beliefs is a singular thought or a multitude of thoughts that have emotion and conviction behind them. So beliefs are created through our thoughts and our emotion, and it's watered by the attention that we put on it, and that gives it conviction over time. So these are powerful beings in our life. And remember that beliefs want to stay. That's all they want to do. Stay in your mind to get as much energy as possible, so they have the chance of materializing. And the last quote is, it'll be hard to change your beliefs so long as you think it's hard. Nobody ever seems to decide straight away that it's easy to change their beliefs. And I think this one is one of the best quotes in the book, because we have this thing of labeling things as hard and then putting in a lot of effort and then proving to ourselves that we can do it, rather than from the get-go saying that it's easy and it will be easy, and using your belief bias to your advantage, because you can actually influence yourself to think things that are quote-unquote hard is quote-unquote easy. So beliefs, from friend to foe, they just want to live, that's all. And I think we should have some compassion with our beliefs as well. Maybe you have some beliefs that don't serve you, like you're unlovable, you don't deserve to be loved, you are dumb, you are stupid, things like that, right? And all these beliefs want to do is live just like us. They are entities that live in the spiritual world that want to stay alive. And our job is to, unfortunately, take away their life and give it new life. So, with that being said, beliefs are self-preserving entities. Beliefs are self-protecting thought forms that filter experiences to stay alive. And that's all they want to do. They just want to live. So have some compassion with the bad beliefs that you have, even though you're going to kill them off and transform them into something more meaningful. Like, you are lovable, and you are smart, and you have the capability to do whatever you want, and you are a genius, right? All these things, because those serve you. And each of these beliefs often hide a hidden payoff. Like, maybe they're interconnected in a way. So maybe from a young age, you were told that if you do certain things, then you will be loved by your parents, for instance. That means that by default, you are unlovable unless you follow whatever your parents say, or unless you get good grades, or unless you're obedient, right? And that's kind of safety and the tribe and the psychological safety that you get. So these beliefs are chained in a way. So looking from an operating system perspective, you have one type of code that gives you love and affection, but you have another part of the code that says by default you're not lovable, which is a very sneaky thing. And the trade-offs that we pay off consciously or subconsciously stay possessed in the way that they stay in our lives even as adults, unless we actually transform them into something positive or don't pay enough focus on it to actually diminish it. And they serve you until they don't. So managing them so they don't manage you, right? And a lot of adults in human life have not dealt with this aspect. So you see a lot of bad manifestations due to the fact that these people have high agency, a lot of power, and created overall misery in the world because they don't know how their beliefs shape their worldview. But now we're going a bit off the rails here, so let's get back to beliefs. Your beliefs are your apps. This is a smart way to conceptualize this. You have some apps that you are aware of, and then you have some apps that you are unaware of. The apps that you are aware of can be things like you're unlovable, you don't deserve love, you're not smart enough, or you can have some positive apps like you're doing the work, everything comes easily to you. You can have some neutral apps that you don't really know how serve you and don't serve you, and same with unaware apps as well. And the clue here is to manage your phone or manage your operating system in a way that you have beliefs that serve you and only serve you, and beliefs that don't serve you are transformed mentally. And if you wonder how you're doing that, you can watch the video on techniques and mindsets, and there's a technique there called emotional alchemy. You can use that. And yeah, that's kind of the work that a lot of people talking about. It's turning these red flags or red applications or malicious apps into something more positive. Chapter 14. No creation without conviction. And at the bottom here it says I know over everything, which is a very, very cool thing, if you know what it means. So some great quotes from this chapter is conviction. There have been moments in your life when you just knew something would happen, whether minor or major, an internal knowing so profound that nothing could convince you otherwise. And we've all experienced this. Maybe it's you getting a certain result. Maybe it's you absolutely knowing that you will get home every single day. Maybe it's you knowing that you will have dinner tonight. Maybe it's you scoring a goal. Maybe it's you finishing a book. It can be whatever, but there have been moments in every person's life where there's absolutely 1000% conviction and nothing could even prove you otherwise. And anyone with complete conviction stands above their reality. And that is very powerful, because standing over your reality, meaning standing over your physical reality, and you have the power of your mental and spiritual abilities to manifest whatever you want. And the last quote here is self-trust can be defined as the ability for you to do what you need to do and to avoid doing what you know you shouldn't be doing. We'll get deeper into what that means. So I know it will happen for me, because that is kind of the core key takeaway of this chapter. And expectation is essential. So conviction is your expectation that something will happen. The I know because of your self-trust. And the more self-trust that you have, the more conviction you will have behind your words, and the more expectations you can set and you actually know it will happen. And that increases your frequency. And we'll cover what is the main shareholder of your frequency in the next chapter. But currently, this is a very, very big part of your frequency, which is your conviction, your expectations, your ability to know that something will happen because you said it will happen. And that is increasing your frequency. And a trap is your mind can play tricks on you, but analyze your expectations and you will find your truth. So your mind can say things like, I really believe it in becoming wealthy. And then you can do a little check on yourself. Like, but do you expect money to come easily to you? And if you say no on that, well, then you don't really believe that becoming wealthy, right? And another example could be, let's say you are trying to find a partner, and you're a female, and someone asks you, do you think all men are trash? And you say, no, I don't think all men are trash. Okay, do you think it's okay for someone to cheat on you? And do you expect that to happen? And you say, yes, of course I expect that to happen, right? And then you figured out, well, your subconscious mind really believes that all men will cheat on you, or money doesn't come easily to you. And this is where the work comes in. Even though you have like a surface level understanding of who you are, it's the really deep understanding who you actually are, the person beneath all of the shallowness, that is interesting here. So knowing thyself, or knowing truly thyself, is super important here in this work. That's all it's really about, knowing who you truly are and what you truly believe, and how honest can you actually be with yourself. Not the shallow version, but the real version. And self-trust is conviction, which means self-mastery and self-worth. And what do I mean by that? In chapter 2 or 3, I think chapter 3, we covered the ability to follow through and the inability to follow through, and the mind keeps the score. So when you say you're going to do something, you better do it, because you are creating a scorecard in your mind. You're keeping a credit score, where if your credit score is bad, you're actually hindering yourself in your future manifestations. And the next point here is, you know something will happen, not how, but that it will. That is also crucial here in expecting. You don't know how things are going to happen, but you know they're going to happen, right? You don't know how you're going home or this and that. You just know you're going home, and some other things as well. So the clue here is not to focus on the how, but more to focus on you actually believing yourself. And conviction empowers frequency, and it increases self-trust. We talked about that. Weak conviction equals weak results. That is true as well. If you don't truly believe that you're going to have something, it will negatively affect you, and probably in very subtle ways, that you're self-sabotaging yourself. And the last one is build with micro wins. Certainty scales. That is beautiful. And the meaning behind that is, instead of trying and trying and trying in all different avenues, scale down your life. Like, make your life so simple and so maintainable. Keep a little Buddhist mindset, and then simplify your life. And then from that simplistic view, try to build micro wins. And what is micro wins? Well, it's okay. Let's say you are saying you're going to take the dishes. Well, then do the dishes. Or you're going to take the trash out. Well, do that. And then if you're going to make your bed, etc. Right? You don't have to live this crazy life where you like get this amazing thing or get that amazing thing. To build your conviction and expectation is super easy. You just have to follow through on your word. And you don't have to make your word crazy. You can make your word very achievable. And then from that, you can build larger and larger things. But start small and then build your conviction up from there. And some practical examples on that is money, for instance. Let's say you go from having a lack type of mindset where you say you don't have enough, to you go to a mindset where you say you have more than enough money, and it flows well and easy to you. And another way around to think about money is actually creating a budget, figuring out what you spend your money on, figuring out what your income is, what the outgoing cost is, figuring out how much you actually have, and then also getting a full kind of cleanup of your finances, right? That is also a great practical step. With relationships, maybe you're looking for a partner. You can say things like, conversations are easy to me, I'm super interesting, and you can repeat those things, right? And if you don't feel like it, you can still transmute that feeling of like, okay, even though you feel like conversation doesn't feel freely to you, you can mentally transmute that feeling to, well, maybe it does. Maybe it does. Introverts doesn't really have to have poor conversation skills, etc., right? And then careers, maybe you have a mindset of, oh, the job market is so scarce, there's no opportunities for me, etc. And switch it over to, there's always opportunities for me. When I go on LinkedIn, there's always a great thing, there's always something new, there's always amazing people to network with. That type of mindset, you're making a switch here. And with fitness, for instance, or going to the gym, maybe you have a limiting mindset on, there's always people there, there's no space, right? So maybe you can say, there's always a space for me in the gym, there's always the weights that I need, this weight feels easy to me, and try to switch that polarity there. And a very banal example is FIFA, for instance. Maybe games come easy to you, you see passes everywhere, you get so many chances, you see the field, you've already scored the goal, etc. So, here's another big slide here on the multi-dimensional sequence. So, let's say you put your focus on the emotion, and then the vibration, the frequency, intuition, and reality. And let's say you are sabotaging yourself like many people do. You have this third thinking mindset where you don't know what you want, and you want to make 100k, but you're not making 100k, and the action is you won't get 100k. And same with the healthy relationship, and same with the career. So you have to transcend thinking, and you have to feel like you're already there. You have scored the goal, you've already gotten the A on the exam, you already got the salary increase, you already got the job. That is the energetic signature of saying, I already have it. And do you want desired reality at the time? We talked about this in the previous chapter. And here's a quote from Alex Hermosi. You don't become confident by shouting affirmations in the mirror, but by having a stack of undeniable proof that you are who you are. Outwork your self-doubt. Steve Jobs also had a famous reality distortion field, which was a term used to describe his ability to convince himself and others of the possibility of something seemingly impossible, often through charisma, persuasion, and unwavering belief in his vision. So I'm not supporting or criticizing this. I'm just saying these are some examples from real life. And then the last chapter of block number 3, the law of emotion. So, emotion is the largest shareholder of your frequency, and positive emotions will always glue you to the positive conditions, circumstances, events, and even people. And you may have tried multiple manifestation techniques such as affirmation, vision boards, scripting, visualization, or subliminal messaging. And maybe you've tried the same with the gym, like you've tried pills, Pilates, grinding at work, or whatever. And it's the same kind of thing here. You're doing something without the emotion, and you're feeling it from a place of lack instead of a place of abundance. And the secret to the most powerful, efficient language of the universe is universe laws in the beginning of the first organ that God gives you what you incarnate on this physical plane, which is the heart. And that is a very long way of saying emotion is extremely powerful, and the heart is also very powerful. And then you have affirmations without emotion is dead. Visualization without emotion is dead. Vision boards without emotion is dead. And positive thinking without emotion is dead, because that is just a way of shouting into the void. The emotional language of God is emotion. When energy that is in motion gain momentum, it becomes a vibration. Frequency is nothing more than immaterialized reality. That is understanding the order of the multidimensional sequence. And it should be noted, the more you experience your desired reality internally, the less you desire it externally, since the emotions eventually burn out like fuel. That's also a very cool thing to know, that at some point you're gonna feel not proud or not amazing that you get something. You're gonna feel gratitude and calm, which is very weird. You might expect that you were supposed to feel amazing and everything would be so impressive to you, but sometimes you just feel like yeah, I felt like this was gonna happen. Feeling is a secret, and that is from Neville Goddard, and emotion equals energy in motion. So emotion is the most powerful part of your frequency, and we've talked a lot about this. And your frequency is an accumulation of your emotion, your emotionally charged thoughts, your mood, your believing, your focus, etc. And emotions are controllable, and that is also something that is very controversial nowadays, that people believe that your emotions are not controllable and you should just feel however you want to feel. The goal here is to create emotional resilience, and we should focus a lot more on that in society, because we have a lot of people that are acting childish and acting from a place of anger and lack, creating a lot of bad manifestations for other people. And Feeling is the Secret by Neville Goddard touches upon the same concept here, that the emotion is the most powerful organ, or the powerful part of your frequency. And emotionally charged thoughts and the heart can move mountains, and it really can. If you can align your attention and your emotion through whatever technique that comes naturally to you, you have a huge asset in your life. And I don't think a lot of people understand what type of power you actually have as a human being. And one thing that is also beneficial to talk about is toxic positivity, and that is suppressing everything as everything is fine, and that is not good as well. That is absolutely not good, because what you're doing there is you're on a surface level trying to suppress everything that happens in your life, but you know deep down that things are not good. So what you're trying to do here is you're not trying to cut the weeds out of your life from a very shallow level. You're trying to get the root of the weed and totally pluck it, and then plant a new seed that serves you. And to do that, you can use emotional alchemy, which was also touched upon in another video called Techniques and Mindsets. So, what does this actually mean? Your emotional state is the keys to your kingdom, and heaven is actually within you and not outside of you. So you're taking whatever the universe is, your personal reality, your big universe, you're creating it inside of you, and you're saying you are the universe, and the state that you're in is the state the universe is in. So you're switching on the order of things here. And how are you managing your emotions? Are you in control, or is reality in control of your emotions? How easy is it to trigger you into a spiral? And these are very powerful journal questions. So I would advise everyone to take a step back in your life and think about these questions. How good are you at controlling your emotions? And how good are you at recovering from an emotional event, such as something very tragic happening, you becoming stressed out because you're missing the bus, or something happens in your life? That is totally fine. It's not about totally maintaining your frequency all the time. It's about also how quickly can you get back up from your frequency dropping. And some wise words from Naval Ravikant. I would have done everything the same except I would have done it with less anger, less emotion, and less internal suffering, because that was optional. It wasn't necessary. And that is actually profound. What he's saying is, if he could go back in time, he would do everything the same way, just not in a negative polarity of things, because that was totally optional. You can choose that. You can't choose faith. Faith will happen, or whatever happens in the physical reality will happen regardless. But you can choose the state of mind you want to do it in. And that is extremely powerful. So, let's summarize block 3 here. First, we covered chapter 11, the order of the universe. Only take action when you are energetically aligned, meaning you understand the multidimensional sequence, and you know that being in the right frequency is what creates your desired reality, and you don't have to take physical action first. You have to align your frequency first. So you have to take action, just know which order you have to take action in. In the same way, you don't pay for the goods you bought in a store. You pay after you picked out the goods. The same way, you align your frequency and then you pay. Exact same thing. Second thing here is reality is a reflection of your personal reality. What we're saying with that is the perception projection loop, which is the way you see things is not the way things are totally, but you have a huge influence on how you want to see things. Two people can see two things in a totally different way. Some can see adversity as their life collapsing. Other people can see adversity as an opportunity. And it's about shaping your personal reality in a way that attracts you to your desired reality. Point number 3 is beliefs are the apps that run your life and shape the way you see life. So we've talked about this analogy of life being seen through glasses. What you have with apps is reality distortion fields that shapes the way you see reality. So when you have quote-unquote good apps, they shape reality in something that makes you attract your desired reality. And when you have bad apps, those shape you to your old frequency, which causes a physical reality you don't really want. So figuring out what type of apps you have, how they bundle together in your mind, is crucial for this work. So the deep underlying message here is figure out who you are as a person truly and deeply. The fourth point here is conviction, your ability to deeply know you got this, or I know I understand this, or I know this will happen for me, because you have a deep trust in yourself, and you already do this, by the way, but you have a deep trust in yourself that something will happen because you said it will happen. The last one is emotion, the most powerful part of your frequency. So we talked about different layers of your frequency being convictions, beliefs, the order of things, the way you see things, your focus, attention, but the emotion is the most powerful part of your frequency, and if you know how to use that, you have already created a huge energetic wave that is a nice push towards what you actually want. So with that being said, the summary of block 3 will be use your frequency to your advantage. It's an energy source that you can tap into and use for whatever you want to create your desired reality. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.